A relaxing hike to the high mountains on the Blue Ridge Parkway on a cool autumn morning. I wake up and look out my window in a beautiful sunrise, and I say, wow, I think I want to go hiking today. The first place that I'm thinking of is Cold Mountain, and it's off of the parkway, and I've never been all the way up to the top. So I decided today's a good day. Let's go on up. So I eat my breakfast and I get my car all packed up and it's time to go. I don't know when I'll be back, so I leave the lights on outside just in case it's dark by the time I get back. The sun is rising. It's about 7:30 and all the birds are starting to sing, and I get in my car and I get going because I've got to get on the Blue Ridge Parkway. I go up through Asheville and I head south. I head south on the parkway and I pass Mount Pisgah. I pass 276 that goes to Brevard, and on out I go. And soon I'm getting near it. I know that because I just passed an area called Graveyard Fields. And I looked over, I stopped and looked, and you could see deer and turkeys, and they were running all over the place so early in the morning. Finally, I find our road that I need to take to get over to Cold Mountain where I can park and go hiking. So I get on this little paved road. All the leaves are changing. The leaves are blowing back and forth across the road as I go down it. And you can tell that autumn is here and all the leaves are going to be gone very soon. And you can tell as you're getting higher and higher up this road, there's less and less leaves. So finally I find a spot that I can actually look out, and it looks pretty good. Looks like a beautiful day so far, but that's very deceiving because as you go higher and higher, there very well this early may be fog and clouds. So I'm ready for that. I have the right clothes on. I've got a jacket so I can handle this. The next thing I come to is a fork in the road, and I go to the right. And I said, okay, I remember this. So about a mile or two down up the road is where I finally come to the sign that I've been looking for miles. And here it is, the Cold Mountain. And where you start at is about 4,500 feet. But when you get to the top, you're over 6,000 feet, over a mile high. And it's the highest mountain in that area. So it's just, the view is unbelievable. But I could tell that it's a little bit hazy, and it's not really haze I'm looking at now. It's sort of a fog. The fog has come down into the valley. So I'm going to have to hike through all this fog. So I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm just about ready to get everything out of the car and start on this hike for today. So I look and there's the trail. So it's time to take the trail and start our trip to Cold Mountain. The colors are beautiful. They're almost full peak down here at 4,500 feet. But I know as I go higher, there's going to be less and less trees. There's going to be less and less leaves. But it's beautiful down here. So I'm going to just make the best of it, because I know that when I get to the top, there's going to be a beautiful view. So I start down the trail, and after a little ways, I get tired. You're going uphill the whole way. So finally, I come to a small waterfall, and it's on the graveyard trail path. So I stop for a little while and just listen to the water. The water is running very good today. We've had rain, but it's not too much. It's just a slight noise that you could hear as the water goes over the rocks. You could feel the mist coming off of the waterfall, and you could just see the rainbows where the sun is hitting the mist that the waterfall is making. Just had to stay there for a while and just watch it. But finally, I decided I gotta get going. We still have a long way to hike to get to the top. So now the trails are getting much, much more narrow, and you're getting where you're actually just going through the forest. And I run across all these little white flowers. And I said, wow, I gotta touch these. So I take my shoes off and I just walk through them. And you can feel just how beautiful and soft those flowers are. But then I had to go. I only have so much time to get up there to the top. So I had to get my shoes back on and my backpack back on. And it was time to go deeper into the woods. But soon, on this trail, it came to another waterfall. And I remember this one because it was running so much stronger and it was higher up. We'd been hiking for a while and higher up, and here's this beautiful waterfall, and the trees were all around it. The colors were turning, and it was a lot louder, just a lot more water going over it. So I stayed a little while, and finally it was time to move on. And I knew that the next hike was going to be much tougher, the next 3 or 4 miles, because it was uphill and through another forest. But I came to this in just a little bit. It was just a giant forest of ferns. And it was so good just to walk through the ferns. I had short pants on, and you could feel the ferns as they touched your skin. And they were just so soft. They were just like a million feathers just touching you. And it was just the green. It was just a sea of green. Just so soft and so nice. I just wanted to almost lay down in it and just take a nap and just see how that felt laying in those beautiful ferns. But I couldn't, because I still had a good ways to go. Even though I'm probably at 5,000 feet, I've still got a lot more elevation to go. And it's starting to get foggy a little bit. And the next thing I know, it's a lot more foggy. And the fog is blocking out the sun. And I'm looking and I'm saying, wow, we're getting higher up. We're getting up into the clouds. At least that's what I thought. But it was just fog. But the fog was beautiful. and you could smell it. You could smell the trees. You could smell the pine trees and all the different trees. It mixed with the fog, and it was just unbelievable to smell as you walk through the fog. Finally, as we were getting higher up, the fog got very dense, and it took on sort of, almost a bluish tint, the sunlight shining through it. And also the trail, it became very small. It was hard to even find it, not because of the fog, just because of very few people ever are able to go up to the top of Cold Mountain because they can't find their way up there. But I was more hoping that the fog would be gone by the time I got up a little bit higher. So I trekked on probably about a half a mile or more through this pine forest up on till I got up until it started to become a rocky trail. And now I knew I was getting up to the top, and it was just an amazing sight to see all this fog on this rocky trail where I was walking on. But I knew, I hoped that when I got up to the top at 6,000 feet, that I'd be above all this fog that's been laying down here in the valley all morning long. Sometimes it burns off, but then other times it doesn't burn off until very late in the morning. And it was still before noon, so I had a chance to see something very spectacular when I got to the top. Finally I did. I got to the top of Cold Mountain, and I could look out and I could see just fog. It looked like a giant blanket of white. The clouds were just well below me. It looked like you could just walk right out on the clouds. Well, I stayed there a while, and in fact I stayed there pretty much all day because it was just so beautiful. You could see the fog moving, and it was burning away during the day, and as it did you could see other places. You could see the valleys that you couldn't see with all the fog. So finally I said, well, I've got to get home. So it was getting late. It was about 5 o'clock, and the sun was setting, and I said, well, this has been a beautiful day. I've got to get home. But I did stay there a little bit longer, and the sun finally set. But I had a flashlight and I had other things, so I made my way back down Cold Mountain to the parking lot. And it was just a beautiful day. I seen things I'd never seen before. It was the first time I made it all the way over a mile high up the trail, and the first time I've ever seen that much fog where the clouds were just a beautiful layer, just filling in all the valleys and everywhere else, and then watching it all day long slowly burn away to where I could see all the valleys, the green, and the flowers.